To be honest, you did what you were told would work. You built a life that looked steady from the outside. You collected small comforts and called them enough. You learned to smile on schedule and to be grateful on command. You hit the marks you were supposed to hit, and then came the silence that no achievement can fill. It is the quiet you meet in the morning when you wake and already feel a thin layer of dread. It is the dip after a win that should feel sweet and somehow feels flat. It is the sense that you are living next to your own life rather than inside it. You carry a private guilt about this emptiness. People depend on you. You pay the bills. You do not live in crisis. So you tell yourself to stop wanting. You tell yourself that other people have it worse. You tell yourself that a good person makes peace with what is available. The mind nods. The body does not. The jaw tightens. The breath stays shallow. Sleep helps for a night, and then the same weight returns. You are not broken for feeling this. You are a human being noticing the cost of staying on a path that never included your aliveness. You tried the usual fixes, a cleaner routine, a new flavor of gratitude, a book that promises a reset. Each one gives a small lift, and then the floor drops back to familiar. The lift is real and it fades because nothing underneath has changed. The part of you that needs something honest is still waiting. It does not want a brighter mood. It wants contact with what is true in you, even if the truth is heavy. Mood can be adjusted. Meaning cannot be faked without a leak. You learn to treat happiness like a finish line you can reach with enough effort. Work harder, optimize more, add another practice, keep the smile steady. The strategy works on a spreadsheet and fails in a chest. Every time happiness is treated as a product to earn, the pressure rises and joy shrinks. You start monitoring yourself like a project. Am I happy yet becomes the silent tracker that steals whatever light shows up. The chase turns life into a hallway of tasks, and the door you need most stays closed. There is another layer you rarely name. You build identities that buy approval and stability. The reliable one, the strong one, the one who does not need much. These roles keep rooms calm and keep you distant from your own pulse. When the role fits too tightly, even pleasure feels like work. You go on a walk and try to enjoy it correctly. You sit with a partner and perform being present while your body angles away. Nothing is wrong on paper. Something is wrong in the place you live inside. You are not weak for wanting relief from this. Relief is natural. The trouble is that the culture sells relief as happiness and then blames you when relief does not last. The problem is not that you failed. The problem is that relief and happiness are not the same thing. Relief is the absence of pressure. Happiness as sold to you is the absence of darkness. Neither is a stable foundation for a life. When darkness is denied, it does not disappear. It moves underground and drains the light from everything you do. You sense the truth in quiet moments. In the car after another day of being useful but not moved. In the kitchen when the room is full and you still feel alone. In the mirror when you see a competent face that looks a little dim around the eyes. You remember a younger version of yourself who did not negotiate with every feeling. You feel a flicker of anger at how much you have traded away to keep the story clean. You swallow it because anger seems dangerous and need seems inconvenient. The emptiness grows because something in you keeps being left behind. The body tells the story you try to outthink. The shoulders creep toward the ears. The stomach tightens when you say yes and mean no. You scroll late into the night to avoid the moment when you would have to admit that you miss your own life. These are not random glitches. They are signals that the way you are organizing yourself does not include your depth. Signals do not respond to slogans. They respond to contact, to truth told in rooms that can hold it, to choices that honor what you feel rather than what keeps peace. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words because it breaks a popular promise. Happiness cannot be forced by willpower or glued to your face by ritual. Any version of joy worth keeping grows out of alignment, not performance. Alignment sounds like a concept and is actually a practice. It means your words match your insides. It means your boundaries protect your time and your tenderness at the same time. It means you stop abandoning yourself to keep the image of a happy person alive. This might sound harsh, but the emptiness is not a defect. It is information. It is the instrument panel lighting up to tell you that you left yourself somewhere along the way. It is asking for a trade: less image, more truth; less chasing, more contact; less noise, more honest grief and honest want. The path is not glamorous. It is sane. It begins where you are rather than where you think you should be. By the end of this video, you will understand why your pain is a gift that points to what is missing, why the chase for happiness keeps you from the thing that could actually satisfy you, and why the doorway you have avoided is the only way back to yourself. To be honest, the path you were sold leads to a tidy room with no air. Positive thinking taught you to paste a smile over a crack and call it healing. The color looked bright. The wall still shifted. You repeated sunny sentences while your body whispered a different report. Tight jaw, shallow breath, heavy chest. The mind tried to override the instrument panel and called that strength. The body refused to sign the lie. Books gave you language and the comfort of recognition. You underlined the right lines. You felt seen for one evening. Then morning arrived and the room had not moved. Insight without contact turns into a warm blanket over a wound that still needs air. The nervous system does not update from sentences alone. It updates when you bring truth into a place that once punished truth and you remain intact. Therapy helped because being witnessed is medicine. Then the hours stabilized around coping and performance. Fewer crises, better functioning, improved scripts. Coping matters. Coping also becomes a ceiling when it replaces contact. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words because they must protect stability. Deep work can shake the identity that kept you alive. If the work does not include the body and the shadow, the session becomes a weekly rehearsal of an acceptable self. Mindfulness became another tool in the cabinet. Used well, it brings breath to what is real. Used as a sedative, it trains you to tolerate what should be confronted. You breathe through the same boundary violations. You count to 10 while your values are crossed. Calm without truth becomes a quiet prison. From the outside, you look serene. Inside, you are pressing your feelings into silence to qualify as a good person. Gratitude turned into a script rather than a doorway. Real gratitude softens the system and connects you to life. Performed gratitude tells you to smile while you bleed. You thank the room while the room still asks you to leave yourself at the door. The body knows the difference and sends the bill at night. Optimization promised salvation through control. Better mornings, cleaner inputs, tighter schedules. The dashboard glows with metrics and the heart goes dim. The pursuit of perfect living squeezes out living. You become a manager of yourself and lose contact with yourself. This might sound harsh, but the chase for happiness through control creates the very pressure that empties your days. Spiritual language offered a ladder out of the mess. Transcend, detach, rise above. The light felt holy and the shadow stayed in the basement. You called pain an illusion and left your human life unattended. Most psychologists will not tell you how often bypass hides inside elegant words. Here is what they do not tell their patients. A person can float above sorrow for years and then crash the moment a real conversation demands a body on the ground. The culture sells happiness as a product. Smiling faces, curated mornings, a list of purchases and practices that promise a permanent glow. The sale is simple. If you are not happy, you are not trying hard enough. Shame enters where curiosity should be. You begin to monitor yourself. You turn joy into a task. Each moment is graded. Am I happy now becomes a quiet obsession that drains whatever light might appear. Beneath these illusions lives a quieter mechanism. Your system wrote a survival map early. On that map, aliveness equaled risk. Joy equaled exposure. Wanting equaled rejection. Relaxation equaled vulnerability to harm. The map did not update because you read a paragraph. It updates when the body has new experiences that disconfirm the old law and survives them. Until then, any approach to real joy raises an alarm. So you create a joy ceiling. You sabotage the very moments that could satisfy you. You pick a fight after an intimate day. You doom scroll after a good evening. You say yes to work that erases the weekend you needed. Not because you hate joy, because the organism still believes joy invites punishment. Family scripts add another layer. The role of the reliable one who needs little, the achiever who proves everything is fine, the caretaker who earns love through exhaustion, the peacemaker who swallows truth to keep the table quiet. These roles by belonging. Happiness that threatens the role becomes a danger signal. You dim yourself to stay included and call it maturity. When you finally reach a moment that could feel good, guilt arrives as if on schedule. Guilt is the bodyguard of the old contract. The inner critic enforces the rules. It calls joy childish, boundaries selfish, rest lazy, anger unspiritual. It dresses in your voice so you will obey without a fight. You think this voice keeps you disciplined. It keeps you manageable. It keeps you aligned with a life that starves you while praising your restraint. Here's the part that hurts to hear and also frees. Happiness as a goal is a trap. Treating happiness like a target turns your life into a permanent audition. You perform positivity, you curate moments, you manage perception. Joy that is real does not survive that pressure. Joy arrives when you are present, truthful, and connected. Joy leaves when you turn it into a project. Most psychologists will not tell you how physical this is because it does not sound lofty. The body must learn that truth does not lead to exile. The body must learn that a boundary does not end love. The body must learn that rest does not erase worth. The body must learn that grief does not drown you forever. Without those lessons, every technique becomes another attempt to outrun the alarm. Not everyone is ready to hear this. The industry around happiness depends on your belief that one more plan will finally deliver a state you can hold forever. The market thrives on your fatigue and sells you a brighter cage. The family economy depends on your pleasant stability. The workplace depends on your quiet endurance. When you stop cooperating, the pushback arrives. The pushback is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that you stopped paying with your aliveness. The illusions kept you functional. They did not set you free. You were not wrong to try them. You were trying to live without breaking anything that felt fragile. The problem is structural. You cannot glue happiness on top of a life organized around self-abandonment. You cannot breathe easily in a room that requires you to hold your breath. There is something even more painful than not being happy. It is the moment you see that the pursuit itself has been separating you from the life that could actually move you. We will get to that. If these words resonate, subscribe to the channel. More people need to hear the truth they're being denied. To be honest, happiness is not a light you switch on. It is a byproduct of a system that is telling the truth. Depth psychology puts simple words to what you feel. There is a part of you that runs the show without asking. Call it the unconscious. It learned how to keep you safe. It remembers the rooms where truth cost you closeness, where joy drew punishment, where wanting brought mockery. That part still enforces the old rules even when the danger has passed. You think you are failing to be happy. You are obeying a safety code that was written before you had choices. Jung spoke about the shadow, the box where you stored traits and needs that threatened belonging. Anger went in, grief went in, desire went in, tenderness went in when the room used tenderness against you. The energy you need for joy now sits in that box. The more you deny those parts, the more they siphon your aliveness from below. Integration is not romance. Integration is allowing exiled life back into the system so energy stops leaking through symptoms and returns as warmth and direction. Freud gave language to defenses, and the words can sound heavy, so keep them plain. Repression pushes feeling out of awareness to get you through the day. It does not only push down pain, it pushes down pleasure too. Rationalization builds a neat story that makes emptiness sound noble. Projection places your unowned joy onto other people so you can watch them live while you stay safe from risk. Intellectualization explains experience so expertly that you never need to feel it. These moves were intelligent when you had less room to move. They become a cage when you mistake them for your personality. Complexes explain why small moments steal whole afternoons. A delayed reply and the worthlessness complex lights up the whole board. A changed plan and the control complex floods your chest with heat. You say happiness is fragile. In truth, an old charge is running present time. The magnitude belongs to the past. The present event is the spark, not the fuel. Naming this breaks the spell. I am in an old field right now. The field will pass if I stand here with myself. Persona is the mask you learn to wear to keep your place. The reliable one, the accomplished one, the one who never needs much. Masks earn praise and keep rooms calm. Over time, they starve the person who wears them. A life lived as a role cannot produce joy. Joy requires presence, and presence requires a face, not a mask. Archetypes are shared patterns that can take you over. The pursuer of happiness is one of them. It tells you to optimize, curate, and perform glow. It convinces you that one more habit will buy a permanent state. The more you chase, the more joy slips out the side door. Joy does not live under surveillance. Joy visits when surveillance ends. The body carries the ledger. When danger was chronic, your nervous system learned to live in vigilance. In that state, relaxation feels unsafe and joy feels suspicious. The organism waits for the other shoe. So when softness arrives, alarms rise. You create a joy ceiling without knowing it. You keep life at a level of intensity that feels familiar. You interrupt good days with needless conflict. You numb the exact evenings that could satisfy you. Not because you hate happiness, because your body believes happiness invites loss. Most psychologists will not tell you how slow and physical the update is, because slowness does not sell. Insight is helpful and also insufficient. The nervous system updates through lived micro-experiences that contradict the old law. You tell one true sentence in a room that once required silence, and you remain intact. You set one boundary and love does not vanish. You rest without earning it, and your worth does not collapse. Each small event redraws the map. Over time, the body stops treating joy as a threat. Here is what they do not tell their patients. You cannot glue happiness onto a life organized around self-abandonment. You can only cultivate conditions where contentment becomes likely. Those conditions are simple and demanding. Words that match insides. Boundaries that protect tenderness and time. Grief allowed to complete its task. Anger owned and shaped into a clean line. Desire included in decisions, so you stop living beside your life. Paradox sits at the center. The more you chase happiness, the more pressure you create, and pressure suffocates joy. The more you make room for the whole experience, the more often joy arrives on its own. Grief moved to completion makes space where warmth can land. Anger given a job as a boundary stops turning into resentment that poisons good moments. Shame brought into warm light turns into precision rather than a global verdict, and precision lets you relax. Relaxation invites pleasure without guilt. Not everyone is ready to hear this. The market sells happiness as a product and calls discomfort failure. Families sell roles as love and call differentiation betrayal. Workplaces sell constant availability as virtue and call boundaries disloyalty. You will feel friction when you stop cooperating. The friction is not a sign that truth is wrong. It is a sign that a system is adjusting to a person who has returned to their own side. This might sound harsh, but a good mood is not the goal. Contact is the goal. Contact with your own experience. Contact with people who can hold truth without asking you to shrink. Contact with work and rest that respect your nervous system. When contact is present, happiness tends to appear in honest bursts. It will never be permanent. It does not need to be permanent. What you can cultivate is a ground of self-respect and presence, where joy can land, leave, and return without panic. Hold this map in one line. Wholeness first, happiness second. Wholeness means nothing essential is exiled to by approval. Joy is the byproduct of that alignment, not the prize for performing it. You stop auditing every moment for glow and begin listening for truth. That is when meals taste like food again, conversations feel like contact again, and small scenes become enough because you are actually there. And here comes the most painful truth. Happiness was never the goal. Presence, integrity, and relationship with your whole self were the goal. And happiness grows in that soil the way wildflowers grow in a field that has finally been left to be what it is. To be honest, this is the part that breaks the spell. Happiness cannot be hunted and mounted on the wall like a trophy. The moment you make it a target, it slips through your hands. You begin to perform for it, to adjust your voice for it, to arrange your day around it, and the pressure of the performance crushes the very softness joy needs to land. The culture sold you a dream of uninterrupted light. The human nervous system does not live that way. The organism breathes in waves. It rises and it falls. It opens and it closes. Any version of happiness that demands constant sunshine will turn you against your own nature. This might sound harsh, but much of what you have called happiness has been relief. Relief from pressure, relief from fear, relief from the job of pretending. Relief matters. Relief is not the same as joy. Relief arrives when the weight lifts. Joy arrives when truth is present. Relief can be purchased for a weekend with distractions and control. Joy grows when your life includes the parts you have been hiding, and your body knows it will not be punished for telling the truth. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words because it cuts against popular promises. When you repress your pain, you also mute your joy. The same lid that holds grief down holds aliveness down. You cannot anesthetize one feeling without numbing the others. The price of an always composed self is a flat, emotional landscape. Calm without contact is a quiet room with no oxygen. Here is what they do not tell their patients. Happiness that is stable comes as a byproduct of integrity. Integrity is not moral theater. Integrity is when your words match your insides, when your boundaries protect both your time and your tenderness, when you stop selling your nervous system for approval. In that ground, joy visits like weather. It is not forced. It is not scheduled. It is not graded. It is felt, then it moves, then it returns. Your job is not to trap it. Your job is to keep the house honest so it feels welcome when it comes back. The chase for happiness has separated you from the only conditions that allow it. The chase makes you monitor every moment. You turn presence into a performance metric. You narrate your own life like a sales pitch to yourself. Am I happy becomes the unspoken drum behind your eyes. That drum drowns out the sound of your actual experience. The meal stops tasting like food because you are measuring your enjoyment. The walk stops touching you because you are assessing your glow. The person in front of you stops being a person because you are grading the connection. Pressure kills pleasure. Measurement chokes wonder. There is a simpler truth. Joy grows in rooms where grief has been allowed to finish its work. When grief is forbidden, the heart hardens to avoid breaking, and nothing soft can stay. Joy grows where anger has been given a job. When anger is denied, it leaks as sarcasm or silent compliance, and resentment poisons good hours. Joy grows where shame is brought into warm light. In secrecy, shame becomes a global verdict against the self, and pleasure feels undeserved. In light, shame becomes precision, and you can relax because you trust your own correction. Joy grows where desire has a seat at the table, When desire is exiled, even the beautiful day feels thin because the person living it is missing. Not everyone is ready to hear this. The market depends on your belief that one more practice will buy a permanent state. Families depend on roles that keep the surface smooth, even if the soul goes hungry. Workplaces depend on your willingness to trade your body for output and call that pride. When you step out of those economies, you will meet friction. The friction is not evidence that you have lost your way. It is evidence that a system is adjusting to a person who is no longer for sale. Happiness as a brand tells you to keep smiling and to ignore the basement. Depth work tells you to go downstairs with a light and make contact. You do not do this to dwell. You do this because the energy you need for joy is trapped there. The younger parts that went underground are not trying to ruin your life. They are waiting for an adult who can hold them without collapsing. When they are welcomed, the leak stops. Energy returns as steadiness, not spectacle. Power changes shape here. Control tries to arrange the outside world so feeling is never required. Presence allows feeling and remains intact. Control builds a cage of routines, perfection, and performance. Presence builds trust in your own capacity to meet life as it is. Happiness sold by control is brittle and anxious. Happiness that grows from presence is quiet and durable. It does not need to announce itself. It shows up in small scenes that suddenly feel full because you are actually there. This might sound harsh, but you cannot keep all the old approvals and gain a life that satisfies you. Something will be surrendered. The role that earned praise may loosen. The connection that required your silence may thin. The image you curated may fade. In that space, something sturdier appears. Self-respect that does not depend on mood. Relationships that can hold truth without demanding your disappearance. Work that costs effort, but not your nervous system. You did not fail at happiness. You were tracking the wrong thing. Track contact, not mood. Track alignment, not performance. Track the moments you did not abandon yourself. Track the evenings where you told the truth and slept like a human being. Track the mornings where you felt a small, unremarkable steadiness because nothing essential was left outside the door. Most psychologists will not say how ordinary this looks because ordinary does not sell. Joy often arrives in plain clothes, a meal that tastes like food because you are not pretending, a conversation that lands because you brought your real voice, a body that sits on a chair and feels the chair because it is not bracing for exile. Nothing dramatic, everything different. Here is the painful truth stated without sugar. Happiness as a destination is a lie that keeps you chasing and grading and performing. Wholeness is the real aim. Wholeness means you stop exiling parts of yourself to earn a place at your own table. When wholeness becomes the foundation, joy begins to appear like weather you can count on over a season rather than a spotlight you must hold with trembling hands. You will not hold joy forever. You do not need to hold it forever. What you can build is a life that tells the truth in rooms that can handle it, a body that trusts your leadership, and relationships that make space for real breath. In that life, joy returns on its own, not as a prize, as a natural consequence of belonging to yourself. And here comes the most painful truth of all. The version of happiness you have been chasing would have required you to keep abandoning yourself. The cost was your depth. The reward was a picture. You can let that picture go. You can choose a living life instead. From here, the work becomes practical. You will not chase states. You will build conditions. You will move in small, honest steps that teach your body a new law. Presence first, integrity first, happiness follows. To be honest, practice is where the false chase ends and a livable life begins. Stop trying to feel a permanent glow. Build conditions where truth can breathe. Keep the order simple, body first, truth next. Repair when needed, no performance, no self-cruelty. Begin with contact. Place a hand where your breath is shallow and wait for a little warmth. Name what is here in plain words. Tight chest, heat in the face, Hollow belly. Naming brings the experience into the present where choice exists. Let your eyes land on something solid in the room, a wall, a chair, a window frame. Lengthen the exhale until the ribs soften by a small degree. Small is enough. Use titration so you do not flood. Touch the hard feeling for a short moment. Step back to a steadying resource. A song, the weight of your body in the chair, the sight of a tree, then return for another brief visit. That back and forth is pendulation. It looks simple. It retrains the alarm without violence. Give grief time and a shape. Sit somewhere private. One hand on the heart, one on the belly. Name what was lost or never given. Let tears come or let stillness sit. When the wave eases, name what the grief honored. Love, time, opportunity. This completes circuits the mind keeps recycling. Turn anger into a boundary rather than a blast. Press your feet into the floor until your legs feel present. Push your palms against a wall and breathe out slow. Under the heat, there is usually one clean sentence. My time matters. Speak it once in an even tone. If needed, add one more line. I will continue when respect is present. Owned anger protects connection. Hidden anger poisons it. Meet shame with warm light and precision. On a page, write the secret you hide and the reason it formed. Say what you regret without attacking yourself. Share a smaller slice with one person who has earned trust. Choose someone who keeps confidences and respects boundaries. Here is what they do not tell their patients. Shame loosens in steady relationship more than in solitary effort. Invite desire back to the table. Each morning, write one true line. Today I want this. Then choose the smallest honest move that honors it without blowing up your life. Send the message. Block a half hour. Say no to one thing that steals the same half hour. Desire is not a luxury, it is orientation. Update the inner critic by changing its job. When the harsh voice arrives, name it. Guard at the door. Thank it for trying to prevent humiliation. Assign a new task. Scan for where I need rest. Scan for where I need support. The critic wants a role. Give it one that protects your life instead of shrinking it. Practice boundary scripts until your mouth knows them under pressure. Keep them short and steady. I care about you, and I will not do that. I decide my pace. I am not available for this today. Speak once. If pushed, repeat once. End the exchange if respect does not return. You are informing the world of a new contract. Create daily micro-contracts instead of grand programs. In the morning, write a single sentence. Today I will not abandon myself by doing this one thing. In the evening, write a single sentence. Here is how I kept the vow, and here is how I will repair where I slipped. No shaming, no trophies, just steady attention. Repair means you name the miss, set it right, and return to alignment. Build small rituals that tell the body a new pattern is safe. A hand over the heart before a hard conversation. A glass of water after a boundary. A short walk after telling the truth. These are not superstitions. They are signals that honesty is followed by care. Do shadow dialogues once a week. Pick a trait you judge in yourself. Needy, angry, cold. Write a page where that part explains what it has been protecting. Do not argue. Listen. Then write a page as the adult who sets terms. You can alert me when something feels off. You cannot run the whole show. I will protect us so you do not need to explode or disappear. Ownership ends the inner war. Use somatic exits when alarms spike. Feel your feet. Place your tongue lightly on the roof of your mouth and release. Name 5 solid objects in the room and one sound you hear. Lengthen the exhale. The aim is not calm at all costs. The aim is enough steadiness to choose the next honest move. Choose community with care. Share specifics rather than speeches. I set a boundary with my manager and I am shaking. I ask my partner for an evening alone and I feel guilty. I told my sibling the truth and I feel both relief and fear. Ask for presence, not fixes. Rooms like this turn practice into a way of living. Design your environment so the vow stays visible. Keep a small card with 3 lines. Body first, truth next, repair when needed. Place 1 reminder on the mirror, 1 on the desk, 1 in the phone. Clarity prevents drift. Set a weekly review that centers dignity over performance. 3 lines, where I stayed with myself, where I slipped and how I will repair, where I need support. Most psychologists will not tell you how ordinary real change looks because ordinary does not sell. This work is made of plain steps repeated until your system trusts you. Stop tracking mood, track contact. Did my words match my insides? Did my boundaries protect time and tenderness? Did I let grief move when it came? Did I give anger a job? Did I include desire in decisions? Joy tends to visit lives organized like this because nothing essential is exiled to keep an image alive. Not everyone is ready to hear this. You may feel friction from within and from around you. Inside, the old critic will call you selfish for not abandoning yourself. Outside, people who preferred your old role may resist. Take a breath. Name the pushback as a sign that a system is adjusting. Keep the vow. From here, the task is simple and demanding. 1 honest move a day, 1 repair when you slip, 1 act of care that replaces an old self-punishment. You are building a house you can live in. In the final part, we will anchor this in a clear vow and invite those who are ready to stand in it together. To be honest, this is where you choose contact over performance, wholeness over the chase. You have carried the pressure to be fine long enough. You can trade the picture of happiness for a living life that tells the truth. 1 small, honest move at a time, repeated until your body trusts you and joy can visit without being forced. If you saw yourself in these words, write in the comments, I no longer run from pain. Let's see how many are ready for the truth. If you feel it's time to meet your shadow, write, my darkness is my strength. Let's build a community of those unafraid to look within. If you're ready to drop the mask, write, I take off the mask. Let's see who's ready for real life. If this video changed something in you, write, I accept my shadow. Make it your vow to yourself. This is only the beginning.